pushing the boundaries of expectations, and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Greetings and welcome back for another deep dive into the supernatural power of Kinetic Believer for attracting your abundant life. I'm so glad to have you back with us today. I'm Stephen Canyon, and if you would like to receive an occasional text the word Kinetic to 844-844-0049. StephenCanyon.com is the website for all of the upcoming events and the other resources and those things. And subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss an episode, which are new and exciting every single week, beginning on Tuesday through Friday, 12 noonish or so Eastern time. Yeah, it might be a few minutes after, but they're pretty close to being on the hour at 12, aren't they, Maggie? Tickets are now available for How to Attract Wisdom anytime you want it. That is our brunch reception in Orlando, Florida on June 26th. Megan and I will both be there, digging down deep with all you guys. Those tickets are available at StephenCanyon.com.
One slight change to all that is that we're actually dropping or trying to drop the podcast at 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Whoa.
Because we got some messages. People like to grab it on their way to work.
Well, let me add to that. When we say drop, we actually mean live, going live, because in a meeting earlier, and I'm going to bring this up now. I wasn't going to do this today, but you're getting
ahead of you,
sassy. So in response to your sassiness, we're going to be live streaming.
Yes.
Streaming. You guys can watch. Now, how many cameras we're going to put in there? Not quite sure yet.
I think it's going to be 3.
3 cameras.
I believe so.
Starting probably this week. Maybe tomorrow. No? She's saying no. I wish you could see Maggie's face right now. Anyway.
Well, I just recently had a conversation about what goes into that, and
okay. Well,
we're working through it.
Coming soon to a screen near you. How's that? How much fun was Disney Springs last night?
Oh, man, it was amazing. Oh, how about that? And not to always talk about the weather, but
the weather's just great, isn't it?
But it was amazing last night. I mean, this is such a nice time of year just to be outside, walking around, the music. It was amazing.
But that's the thing. They've got 5 stages there. This should be a paid commercial.
It really should.
But it's not. There are 5 stages for music at Disney Springs, which is free. It's free to go. It's free parking. 5 stages, and they have about 100. What was it about? You said 100 different artists on a weekly basis at all the different stages.
Yes, lots of variety. And then not to mention all the food and all the drinks.
No, let's don't mention all the food.
And all the shops and everything. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Loved it. Loved you. Loved your company. Love being here today. Love it all. Love you guys. The supernatural power of Kinetic Believer is what we're talking about today. You know what? People are supposed to be enjoying each other. All of us are. And we're supposed to be enjoying the expressions of music out at Disney Springs or wherever you are in the world listening. We were in Albania. The music there was rich, dynamic, fun, the dancing, just as it was in Montenegro and in Scotland and all the different places we go all over the world.
So unique. But it's interesting. They were all so different, but had this sort of theme of the liveliness, the light, the living that they were infusing into all that.
The theme is joy, isn't it?
Yes,
joy, happiness, light, like you're saying.
And isn't that important to find ways to express our joy? Not just to have it, but to get it out.
And don't we find those ways through art. We find those ways through our talents, of which you have many, and abilities, of which you have many. But that's how we express ourselves, and we delight in each other.
Yes.
And edify and encourage and love and lift up and celebrate each other. And by doing so, it's a celebration of self. Wow. Did we just define a utopia? Who knows? Hey, let's do dig down here. I want to talk about the evolutionary process of greatness that comes from within. You stirred that up within me. And that's what it is. It's an evolutionary process. It doesn't just bang, and there we are. We just, all this great stuff happening in our life. No, it comes with it as a process to this. We were put here on the earth to be a manifestation of the greatness that already exists within us, like we're talking about. And we get so much inspiration by looking at the greats in the world, the elite athletes, the artists, and the Michelangelos. Michelangelo said that the sculpture is already complete within the marble block before I start my work. Mm-hmm. He said it's already there. I just have to chisel away the superfluous material to get to it. Well, it's in the same way that the KB fixates their attention on what is already within with the attentiveness of a Michelangelo, refusing to delineate from what they imagine to see in their lives, revealing the beauty of all that is meant to be. Look, if you're an athlete, and I know we've got a lot of athletes that are listening, if you're an athlete, you understand what it means to transform the physical through the power of the mental, because you keep imagining, don't you? I mean, you're on your way to the gym or to the field or wherever to work out, and all the way there, you're imagining. You're seeing yourself go through the motion, and you keep envisioning. You stay fixated on what should be. You stay transfixed on what can be, on what must be. And so you chisel at the stuff that's not supposed to be. And you're working away and tearing down all those things that were never meant to be. You stand your ground and you're not paying attention to all the negative stuff because it's not in the vision. And so you make no provision.
Well, and I love that you use the word vision, because that's the word that keeps cropping up. You mentioned Michelangelo, and in order to do this, we have to be visionaries. We have to allow ourselves to dream and imagine and really see these realities as possibilities for ourselves.
By standing on those dreams, we get into the position, don't we, where nothing is going to change our mind. Because we are imagining, we're holding fast to that imagination. In other words, nothing will turn you away. You're not going to be double-minded because double-mindedness isn't an option. You're 100% in with your 50% KB part because you know that the other half belongs to the universe. God put it there for you. So you've arrived at your apex where the super of God meets the natural of you. Well, what does that make you? You're a supernatural KB. Wow. Well, how do you know? How do you know when you're what we call a supernatural KB? You're journaling to imagine what you choose to desire, and the power of your kinetic belief keeps chiseling away at everything that does not look like the essence of your greatest, highest being. And if it doesn't look like your powerful, successful business, you keep chiseling away at it by not listening to the naysayers, by not conferring with how they may feel or think about whatever it is you're doing. If it doesn't look like the body that you know you possess, well, the KB keeps chiseling, attracting the beauty of the best. If the love you've imagined hasn't shown up in your life, maybe it's because you keep looking at everybody else's love life, wishing you had what they had, rather than being grateful for yourself. No, a KB keeps chiseling away at what others said and what others did to reveal the life-transforming power of unconditional love that's already within. And if it doesn't look like your joy, if it doesn't feel like your happiness, the essence of your being, well, the KB stands up, having done all else, they continue to rise, and whatever has to change, changes.
Well, and that's an exciting idea, this idea of using journaling as a tool for chiseling our life, to hone it and to sculpt it and to make exactly what we want. It actually reminded me of these videos I love to watch on YouTube sometimes, and it's really just an artist, and it's showing their handiwork, and it's showing a sketch that they're doing, but it will give you these markings of time. So it'll say, well, this is what it looks like after 1 hour. This is what it looks like after 5 hours. This is 36 hours. This is 7. This is a week. This is a month. But what's so cool about that is that if you do this, time is on your side. Time is your friend. If we can just get into this journaling habit and make it a part of our lifestyle, this chiseling part of our lifestyle, then as time comes, time is going to come and go anyways, like you always say.
Well, I love that. And you've shown me those videos before, and it's like you're watching in real time a transformation, but you're speeding it up. It's in the journal. I was imagining you could see it almost like a flip book. Yeah. Imagine you're flipping your life on the pages of your manifesting journal, and you're watching it transform to become what you've imagined it to be.
Well, and again, just like like I've heard you say before, time is screaming by, time is happening. So let's harness it and make it work for us by implementing these things.
Harness it by staying in the presence of now, right?
Yes.
Stay in now, because look, we're in the middle of an evolutionary process. All of us are. All things are advancing. The universe is expanding. Humans on the earth are transcending the identification with failure. Our ancestors did what they had to do. I mean, they began as these ape-like beings, a little different from the beasts around them in appearance, but they had this infinitely different capacity for being able to grow and for subjective thinking. I mean, think about this, Meg. Art and beauty, architecture, song, poetry, music, invention, all of these things. All these were unrealized potentials in the ape-like person's soul. And for its time, now please don't misunderstand me, for its time, while learning how to control fire, hunt for food, and survive, the kind of person that it was very good in that it was just beginning to understand. From the day that first being of light first appeared on the earth, a spiritual entity captured into a human form. From that first day, the mental constructs of doubts and worry and fear, all of that had its consequences. In the most ironic of ways, though, it's those consequences that have really lighted a path for humanity to be able to transcend the ego of failure and the condemnation of defeat. Potential began to work from within in every single person through each millennial generation to rise above more and more and more by awakening the sixth sense, the seventh and the eighth senses of wisdom, and for the understanding of the power of love over the egoist mentality. Each succeeding generation from that very first one has been urged on to these larger achievements and all of these better conditions that we are enjoying today and at Disney Springs and wherever we go, and all of the supernatural results of conditioning the mind.
Well, and this is such a cool concept, this idea of embracing that evolutionary process for ourselves. Because I think a lot of times we look at it like you're describing, we look back to the ancestors and the primordial ooze that something crawled up out of or whatever, but embracing our evolutionary process and giving, and that can even let us off the hook in a manner of speaking. This idea that, look, I am evolving, and that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And
isn't that great? Not being on some kind of a hook. The ego is the hook. Yeah. The ego is the hook that will show up every day and start challenging your delight in evolving to something better.
I've always thought that, the first phase to bettering yourself is that entire first season of thinking you're not bettering yourself good enough.
That's good. Geez. You're not bettering yourself good. You're not good enough at bettering yourself.
You're terrible
You're not good
at self-improvement.
Isn't that it?
It is it, and it's but that's part of it. That's why evolution is actually this really beautiful thing that we get to participate in, and again, letting yourself off the hook, not allowing the ego to sort of tease you and bully you while you're going through this process, and instead you should be celebrating what you're doing.
It is a celebration of life. If anybody were to hang out with me and you all day, everywhere we go to, from one coffee shop to another, out to lunch or whatever we're doing, this is all we talk about. We were laughing about it the other day. What did you say? Can we just not talk about life?
I said, can I just not talk about how to live my life for like a second?
and maybe 5 seconds later, what were we talking about?
5 seconds later, I'm like, but seriously, I was thinking.
Well, but that is life.
Well, and this, and I'm sure that we're all very different, and this is our thing, right? Like this is the I love obsessing over it. I love the analysis of it. I love understanding why we do these things we shouldn't be doing or don't want to do, and why we do the good things.
That's the benefit of being observant.
It. Yeah.
Well, but there are two types of people in the world today. I mean, there are those who look at problems and detest what they see, and those who look at the potential and release what they believe. And that's it. I mean, the problem seers, we're talking about the ape-like human beings. They will look back into ancient history and they see all of those awful conditions which existed, And they'll look at all the barbarities, they'll look at the idolatries and all of the sufferings. And what they'll do is they point to those alarm bells, and they will talk about all of the disasters and the impending doom and disasters of the world today. However, it is from the first ape-like human to the arrival of you and me and our listeners that the human race has had to rise above all of that. We're rising. We're evolving from the ooey-gooey mess of failure. And that rising could only be accomplished by the successive unfolding of the powers and the latent potential that is lying dormant in the essence of our being.
Wow.
Look, the creator of the universe desired to express itself, to live in form on the highest spiritual plane, and to evolve a human form in which it could dwell and manifest more of itself. This is the purpose of the evolutionary advancement of the power of kinetic belief.
So are you saying that spirituality and the human spirit, the spirit that we know, that's our essence, that eternal us, that was part of the evolutionary process?
That's the thing that evolves. That is the process of evolving, is with the spiritual being that dwells within us. There's two natures, like I think it was in maybe the last podcast or one of the last week at some point. We really heavily dove down into the two natures.
Are you doing a lot of podcasts lately, Steve?
What I'm doing is I'm pointing everybody to a podcast last week.
He is pointing, I can confirm.
Go back to last week. But it's from the beginning of our human experiences that the bloodshed and the sufferings and all of those injustices and cruelties, all those negative things, have been tempered by love from one generation to the next one. We had an in-depth conversation yesterday about the new generation coming up now and their likes and dislikes and the direction that they're collectively heading into. But it's this evolutionary transcendence of the nature of life that's developing the desires of humankind while advancing the mind to the ultimate potential of perfected love. Wow. Even as KBs develop in our awareness, the end is not now. Everybody, this is not the end. The evolution of the power of kinetic belief is not for the perfection of just a few people. In other words, it's not only so that 1% or 5% or even 90% can put on a best life show. No, the godlike potential of our essence of being is for the glorification of all. There are moments that will define all of us as a KB. Mostly when we least expect it. There are moments that will either grow you or kill you a little more deeply in the ego of your mind. I can attest to this. You can too, Meg. This stuff, it'll sneak up on you and drop you like taking your Achilles out from under you. Most people resist. Most people cave in and they quit at all of these moments. Yeah. But a KB puts in the mental work to never accept the failure of thoughts again because they've looked within to see that they are so much more than that. I saw
a great tweet the other day. Somebody said, just FYI, everyone, I've decided I will not be reincarnating to Earth again. So you know, that makes me think of.
let's move on, right?
Right. Don't we all love to pretend as if we're about to get off the train, and it's like, no, we're just getting started, people.
No, I'm fine.
We better find a way to make this fun because it is not over.
Well, how do we know what these defining moments look like? It's when we've been working on our dreams for years, and it's when you run out of money, and everybody's telling you, just go get a job. You just need to play it safe. I told you it wouldn't work out. But the KB digs deeper, plants their feet, refuses to move because they're still planning to show up, because the KB refuses to identify with failure. They make observations and gratefully attract more wisdom when it's needed. And they navigate by moving around obstacles, and whatever it takes to stay on their path. They sacrifice what can be seen to attract and manifest what is not yet seen. Whatever it takes is always enough, and I'll tell you, it's never too much. We know what the defining moments look like, Meg, because it's when you're in the gym and your muscles are burning and you think, you've only got one more left. But your essence of being, your higher self, digs deeper to release the 5 more. Well, that's how our muscles grow. When your natural is pushed past the ego of resistance, this is how a KB manifests their abundant life. It's when you're out on the field and you're dead in your legs and there's nothing left to give, and you've been listening to the voice, the egoist of reasonings and the dialogue of defeat. It's going around and around and around in your mind, and you start to think how you're just getting tired and you're thirsty. And then someone blows past you and your team is relying on you, so you dig down deeper within for the new life. There is something there that's beyond this world of doubts and from some greater place within. And so you press beyond what thoughts could have done, and you make the play when they were saying there's no way. It's when you can walk off the field knowing that you've given beyond what they thought, beyond what they said could have been done, and what they feared. That's the supernatural power of kinetic belief.
And what a beautiful and perfect analogy the physical fitness is for many things that a KB's doing, because you are digging deep constantly. And it does make me wonder, because everything you just described, you have that moment, you have that defining moment of choice, whether you're going to slow down and give in, or you're going to choose and you're going to access that kinetic part of your belief and the kinetic part of that scenario. And I'm just finding myself wondering, what triggers that in those moments? What literally triggers someone to go into the kinetic belief side? Or is it the preparation? Is it because they've been meditating on that choice? Well,
again, it's those two natures that all of us have. And the one that shows up first that says, I can't, I won't, I'm too tired, I can't go on, I don't have the strength for this one more push, for this one more rep. That is always the ego. That is never the essence of being of your life, light, love, energy, positivity. That probably defines quicker more than anything I can think of the ego inside of us. Because, look, when we can win or lose the game, or win or lose in the gym, win or lose whatever it is, the competition of egos that are identifying with the rules for winning, the rules for first place, the rules for second, and more rules for third. But, you will never advance from within unless you've left nothing behind. That means unless you have put more energy out than they thought there was to give. You're digging down deep. This is the way of life for the KB. You are reaching down into the well of more than enough creative ability to push beyond what the ego said you can't do. Because it's possible. We do this. People do this all the time. And I'll tell you that you can fool the others. You can pretend like you're tired and you've tried really hard, and you can identify with their expectations, but only the KB knows if they've remained through the pain. Only the KB knows if they've dug down deep enough to overcome the egoist mentality of saying enough is enough.
And that's one of the most beautiful things about being a kinetic believer, is that you can allow yourself to, like you were just saying, empty ourselves, to give literally every ounce that we have in the moment, because that as a kinetic believer, you will be replenished. Unconditional love and belief and the true essence of who you are, you will be replenished because of how you live.
That's a great point. And just for the record here, look, I'm not talking about some kind of great effort just until things get hard for you in your life. And when the excuses for quitting really become easy and plentiful, you don't even have to dig down and be creative, do any creative thinking to come up with a reason to quit anymore. I'm not just talking about showing up for a couple of years until you get bored with yourself and tired of the talk, so you quit and you give up on your dream. I mean, the KB knows that, they have the authority of the super on their natural, so they're all in with their creative belief. It's when you're dragging from lagging and you're tired from the fires and underneath the issues of life that a KB's higher self takes the command, transcending and soaring to new heights from where they stand. So we journal and we imagine, and we're grateful as we dig deep to discover more. There's always more to the more inside. There's always more. I mean, you can feel it. The essence of joy begins to overtake you. It runs you down. Happiness overtakes you. It's in you now. And you're knowing what to do when you didn't know what to do before, because wisdom overtakes you. Health wins the day. Wealth is flowing from all directions. You're a KB, and you know it. And so it's one more lap, one more rep, one more year, one more meeting, one more insight, one more meditation, one more forgiveness, one more book, one more video, one more podcast. It's the essence of more that's within you. And the KB knows where to find it.
I'm so grateful that there's always more, that there's always something else to attain and to achieve and to bring into our lives, because, you do not want to tap all of this out. You don't want to get to a point where you think, well, is that it?
That's the ego. The ego is limited.
But thank God, right? Thank God that He, the essence of life. There's I just love how you're saying there's always more. There's always more. There's always more.
No, that's the advancement. The universe is expanding, and we're advancing with it. And it's an infinite advancement of the mind, body, and soul, of which we will never run out.
And that makes me think of something else that we recently discussed, that how dangerous the getting to a plateau in your life and then I'll be happy, or I'll be whatever, fill in the blank. But that plateau mentality is so dangerous because it does denote that there isn't more. And it does denote that once I achieve this or once I achieve that, then life will be grand and it will be everything I could imagine and I can sit down forever. And again, the danger in that is so high, and it's so manipulative, and it's so obviously, now we understand, based in the ego, because you're going to miss out on everything, because there is supposed to be more. We're not supposed to achieve a plateau.
Achieving a plateau, or being plateau-minded. Plateau-mindedness is living by the senses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Living by what you can see, living by the expectations of others, living by what others have defined as the life that's been well lived, and you have lived until you're satisfied. What do you mean? Well, I can see that you put your lounge chair out there on the plateau. You've arrived.
It makes me think of, we did this hike, and we thought it was just a couple miles out in, I think it was Wyoming or Colorado. I can't remember now, but it was actually in New Mexico. But we thought it was just a couple miles, and as we're going further and further, we realize we've sort of misread the markers, and we're on this insanely long hike. But I just remember getting to the top, and we sit down. It's been like hours and hours and hours.
Oh, yeah.
And we sit down and we're looking, it's beautiful, but we said, well, I guess we live here now.
Is this where the universe gave us the 6-pack of Gatorade?
It is, yes, but isn't that how we think it's going to be? Like, well, I'm going to climb this mountain and I'm going to scale the summit, and it's like, well, okay, I guess we live.
We had no water with us.
Right.
We had no idea where we were going.
Yeah.
And there we were. Well, I guess we live here now, because I'm not going back. They're going to have to rescue us, I guess.
Should I gather some firewood and start searching for food?
But that's the deal, isn't it? Because, the egoists or the naturals have preconditioned themselves to follow the crowd of the lowest level, to seek that lowest level, the comfort, the comfortable. It doesn't work out in their job. Take the easy way out. Take the unemployment. Getting up early is too hard. Take the easy way out. Sleep in. They were offended. It's not for them. Take the easy way out. Quit. These are the moments of potential that a KB discovers the power of their essence of being, the one within that doesn't identify with lack or with failure or with fatigue. This is a moment of decision, and the KB chooses to identify with the character of their genius, with the personality of their light. And it's a choice that we're making for life. This is a way of life, and it's every day. It's always in this moment. And it's a choice that we're making for growth, and it's a choice we're making for prosperity. But most people will choose not to choose. And by default, they suffer and despair, and they stay defeated by the fear of lack. And that's really all it is. It's just a path toward death, or the journey for life. The KB understands they will die with the ego if they don't live their best life.
Well, and what a beauty of clarity that we get to have as kinetic believers, because if people outside of that realm of understanding, they're doing what they think is easy, but it's deeply ironic, because the seemingly easy choice leads to the most difficult way of living. And then as a kinetic believer, we're doing what seems like it's hard, but then it leads to the most easy and peaceful and joy-filled life you can imagine.
That's the irony of this, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, the person that doesn't want to sweat and work hard and go to the gym and they want to take the easy way out is the one that stays sick and broken and in pain when they try to walk when they get older in life.
Yeah.
Look, there is only one way in which we are all the same. Because we talk about the beauty of the diversity of all of humanity, and that's what makes us alike is our diversity. But there really and truly is one way in which we are all the same. And that is that we get up each day, and all of us are faced with the same choices. All of us. You say you're tired of trying? Dig deeper. If you feel like you've got nothing left to give, dig deeper. You're getting by? Dig deeper. You achieve more than anyone else in your family? Dig deeper. You say, well, I've had a good life. Dig deeper. Life is advancement. Status quo is death. There is abundant life beyond satisfaction. To say I'm satisfied is to give up, but you have to be willing to dig deeper. And that's it. That really is it. And that's the question, isn't it? Are you willing?
As a kinetic believer, how can we know the difference when we're in these situations where digging deeper is imperative and it's the most important thing you can do in those moments? But then in other moments, I mean, is there a time for rest? Is there a time for us to pause and reflect or is it always going to be the dig deeper mentality?
We rest in the digging deeper. And it's not the sweat of the brow that we're digging. It's the meditative digging deeper. It's the imagination of digging deeper. It's the gratitude that digs deeper. It's the satisfaction of present life that's digging deeper. It's not worrying that's the digging of the deepest. It's the not sweating or the anxiety. It's the lack of fear that allows us to dig deeper. Look, if you just found Meg and me, if you're just passing by and you paused for a listen, I really don't know who you might imagine yourself to be, because you're probably not a kinetic believer yet. But I will never want to pay the price that it costs to quit, because the cost of throwing in the towel is too much for me to bear. When you're deciding what to do today, if you're ordering the easy, I hope you enjoy the dessert. It is the disgusting taste of regret. Because when I get up in the morning, I'm ordering the celebrity of life every time, the option that enables the genius of character. Understand that you found the tribe by moving around in your podcast search today. You found the tribe. We are the KBs that will dig deeper. We have the equipment. You have the earth suit. Your mind will quit 1,000 times before your body will ever give up. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That fear thing will go away.
Well, and the one thing keeps popping into my head as you're laying this out right now is intention. You know, we're in our intention, our motivation, that those mental constructs, the journaling, it's this higher way of thinking and forming our highest viewpoints that we have to be unwilling to surrender. And, you know, as we're building this vision and we're building this way of life, I love this idea that we will never surrender an inch of it once we've established it.
It's transcending the ego, isn't it? That's refusing to surrender. It's refusing to cave in to those demands that you're putting on yourself to quit and coming up with the excuses to turn in the other direction. But no, it's like you're saying, Meg, it's the authority of our being that is a powerful thing. But the ego, those thought constructs, they actually can be both good and bad. It's bad when we let it take over, when we allow the negative thoughts to dictate and hold us back. But if we dig deep enough into the core of our light, in the core of our being, the one that is life, we develop our emotional intelligence to follow and to use our thinking to push us forward. Every person is capable of so much more than they think. But most will just quit too early. And they stop pushing their egos out of the way just before they've reached the compounding success of belief, because they let the intimidation of thinking and all those thoughts, all that negative thinking and the inner dialogue keep them stuck where they are. No, but a KB digs deeper within themselves.
This is also really revealing that a lot of us can have some very incorrect framing in place when it just comes to life in general. And this idea that, look, as kinetic believers, we do need to embrace the fact that life itself and the journey itself is the journey, and it is this evolutionary process. So let's see that for what it is and embrace it as the true essence of life, because it's very difficult sometimes to continually think beyond this idea that I need to become this. I need to become this person. I need to become that. My life has to look like this because I'm, as if life is a building we're trying to construct and eventually it will be done. And that's just so wildly incorrect, because everything you're describing on today's podcast is really framing life to be this really beautiful evolutionary journey that never ends. And that's a good thing.
Well, yes, that is so it, Meg, because we are not talking here on this. That's not what kinetic belief is. That is not what we are about. This is not some motivational podcast that wants to train you up and to kick you in the rear end until you become whatever it is you want to become. That's not what this is about. This is about enjoying the experiences. Enjoying the journey, enjoying the observations, enjoying the essence of love and the celebration of life. That is success. It's not the house or the car or the amount of money, because you are the house, you are the car, you are the amount of money, you are success, you are life and light and love, the essence of being. And when you can embrace that, all these other things begin to transfigure and transform the circumstances that do surround you to become part of an extension of that which already is.
That makes me think of when we went to the Smithsonian, we ended up in the modern art area. And I've never been a huge fan of modern art, but they had these really amazing write-ups about the different pieces. I mean, the history of them and the artist's state of mind and their life at that time. It was very in-depth. And I noticed that as I was reading the insights into that work of art that may have seemed sort of vacant and strange, it started to become more beautiful, and it took on a lot more meaning, and it had a lot more depth, and I was able to enjoy it because of the description, the level of understanding that I was gaining. And that just made me think about us and our life. And as we understand, as we become seasoned kinetic believers, and we understand what life truly is, and the true essence of what it was always meant to be. It was never meant to be those other things. Those are twisted versions of it that aren't real. But to truly understand what it is, it enhances the beauty, it enhances the enjoyment.
As long as it's those other things, it's still you identifying with the thought constructs of forms. And forms change, forms digress, forms decay. And if you identify with a form, then you digress, you change, and you decay. No, it's the essence of our being that we identify with. So on our way to the Smithsonian, we are enjoying the ride there by being aware that we are the awareness of the universe that is getting ready to embark upon the masters of art. And so we're enjoying standing in line. We're enjoying stepping across the threshold. We're enjoying walking down those corridors, looking at one masterpiece after another. No, to dig deep means to know who you are, like we're talking about, the essence of self. It's not the one they try to tell you that you are. Not the one looking back at you in the mirror. No, digging deep refers to your ability to look within yourself, to release your potential, and using your immovable imagination to attract and to develop in and to act toward manifesting all of your kinetic beliefs. It's drawing out your desires by pushing through any obstacle. Look, you have the creative authority. You've got all things that can be seen, that you look around and you see at any time. All that stuff out there, all the stuff in the room where you are right now, all of that is subject to what you believe about it. That's the secret. A KB knows this. So there's no hesitation once you have your coordinates. Obstacles collapse in reverence of resiliency. And your creative ability to not respond to all that negative stuff produces setbacks for all the others. Digging deep requires a life mindset, a willingness to show up, and to be uncomfortable in order to attract change to your circumstances and to be an improvement over yesterday's best.
It's funny. You I feel like you just read my mind because you used the word, being good at being uncomfortable. And as we were traveling recently, we're on these long haul flights and we're in different places that maybe are really small or tiny. It's not what you think it's going to be. And we were sort of laughing. I remember one day at how, man, we're getting so good at being uncomfortable.
Oh, come on now, Meg. You were on that plane across the Atlantic, and you're doing yoga
because there's nobody
else on the other.
That other flight.
But you're back
the
there
yoga
doing
flight was amazing. That flight was amazing.
You made it amazing.
But isn't that what the KB does? We are amazing at being uncomfortable. We are highly adaptable creatures, and because like you're saying today, we've evolved. We're evolving into that.
Being resilient, right?
Resilient.
Because anything that we can think of or imagine, it can be reached, it will show up, and we know that. We now know through research, for example, and our observations of the universe, through quantum theoretical science, that there is no goal too big or even small that is actually easy if you worry about it and think about it and think that it's really hard and tedious. However, with the ease of persistence and immovable kinetic belief while giving no anxious thoughts for tomorrow, the supernatural power of kinetic belief entangles your every desire to manifest into your life.
Wow.
Most people have lots of goals. I mean, we're not trying to instill a craving for goals all of a sudden for you to go, oh, I'm excited about having some goals. Let's go write some things down. No. Most people have those. And most people that have lots of goals, they actually go unreached. You see that every New Year's Eve, don't you? And most people can just pull out last year's and read it again. And it's not because they aren't smart enough. It's not because we're not strong enough or incapable. It's because they won't dig deep enough to transcend the ego to awaken their potential. And so they quit because they believed in failure and they think they're unable. They lack the motivation to continue because they believed it when other people said that they can't, rather than using it as a distinction to transcend the ego of doubt. When we get to the core of who we really are and what we really want to experience in our lives, we are immediately on our way to making a way out of no way and to setting a fire to the energetics of our desires.
And what's really coming through as well about this evolutionary process, and I think something that's really exciting about it is that it's going to reveal our most authentic self. We're dealing in truth. We're dealing in the real reality of life. And there's nothing that feels better than being able to just move throughout your life, move throughout the day, talk to people, interact in your life as a true, authentic self.
Yes, girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and I remember, and I don't know if it was a commercial or a movie we watched or something. I think it was a movie, but this guy was going to a ranch. He was going to work there, do something there, and he was trying to fit in. And so he bought like these new jeans so that he could look like he had always been a cowboy, but they were like so stiff he couldn't sit down because they were so new. But
I think it was a Hallmark movie.
I think it was. But isn't that how a lot of us were going through life before we were kinetic believers? We've got the stiff jeans on, sort of like pretending to be what we think we're supposed to be.
So superficial, right?
Yeah, but just again, like there's just nothing more delicious and warming and cozy and vibrant, and it's everything to really know that, wow, this is really me, and I'm living this way, and it's me. I'm so authentic at this moment.
What are we doing? It's a way of life. We're digging deep. We're digging deep to allow that to transcend the shallow. What is the supernatural power of digging deep? Well, here's what we do. For pushing through a hard workout, for example, for motivating ourselves to get another training session, or facing any number of life's inevitable challenges, there's certainly nothing wrong with a little healthy competitive inspiration. Don't get me wrong here. But most people focus too much on what other people are doing, or what they're saying, or what they're dreaming about, and not enough on themselves. Sometimes people see others on the field or at the office, on campus, in life, who are more advanced, faster, smarter, better looking, younger, older, whatever it may be. And they let that discourage them from pushing forward. while identifying with the ego with thinking that they can't be on someone else's level. Most often, and we know this, discouragement comes from social media.
True.
You'll see the perfect bodies, the perfect form, the videos of the yoga influencers, wealth builders, all of those fitness gurus performing those incredible skills. But what you don't see is all of the belief and all of the effort and all of the discipline that it took to get them there. You don't know how many videos they had to shoot or what they edited out to just get it just perfect. And you rarely get to see where they started from. Listen, not everyone is on the same level of discipline. We're not supposed to be. Good for them. Love them for who they are. Love yourself for who you are. We're diverse, and we're all beautifully made. Your biggest competition is with the egoist self, and that's identifying with thinking about others, thinking about failure, thinking about approval, thinking about anything other than your oneness with the greatest force in the universe, the power of kinetic belief.
Yes.
The goal is to work on your life-transforming gratitude in all things, to manifest a better version of yourself as a way of life. So we dig deep to determine our genius of purpose, to know what it is that makes you you. What about you is weird? What are your most original characteristics? Ask yourself, what do I want? And then claim it and act like you've got it. And then ask yourself, what can you do today to move that desire closer to you? This is the secret to the law of attraction. This is the power of kinetic belief. Most people will say that they need a reason when it comes to their goals. In other words, they're still identifying with the ego. They're still needing somehow to be able to validate their reason. That they are protecting their reputation, worrying about what other people think, wanting to impress somebody. And all of that is nothing more than caring about what somebody else thinks. Listen, you're still seeking approval. You're still seeking permission. You're still under the influence of trying to fit in. And since we're digging deep here today, let's take this just a step further. Instead of stating your reason, locate the mission within your soul. Determine what your beliefs mean to you, how the manifestation of your beliefs will impact your life and even the lives of others, and how they'll help you to live out your values. Because you're putting together the pieces of your holistic beliefs. You're making a space for the growth of life in every direction. The word mission has such a deep meaning that resonates with kinetic believers, the elite athletes, and all of those best lifers that we're always talking to and about. Journaling out your mission. This helps you to envision the journey of putting a demand on your goals. A mission isn't just something that you desire. It's something that you get up and you do right now today. Do you really just want to lose that 40 pounds to fit into that old pair of jeans? Big deal. No worry. There's not shame or condemnation or judgment about where you are naturally, so you need to lose 40 pounds. Okay, big deal. Dig deeper. Right now in this moment. That 40 pounds is what you can see. Your perfect size is within you right now. Pick up your chisel. You have the wisdom. You understand that without that extra 40 pounds, you can breathe easier. You know that you can walk faster. You know that you'll feel better. Your KB life will inspire others to manifest their healthier lifestyles. Your bright light, it could even influence total strangers that you'll meet out on the street somewhere and inspire them to go ahead and fall in love with themselves enough to manifest their desires. A KB is putting in the time to meditate beyond what they used to think, beyond what they used to hear, beyond what they're used to seeing. They're putting in the effort of love for themselves, love for the universe, love for all others, love for God. A kinetic believer is building their confidence by accepting their unwavering determination as their way of life, and they're pushing themselves to places that they never even thought possible to go before when they were just one of the crowd. So maybe losing that 40 pounds will make you a better person. because you've transcended the egos that were controlling your attitudes. Maybe you'll be a better parent. Perhaps it'll change the future and the lifestyle and the health of your children. And even for generations to come, maybe it's the butterfly effect of you losing the 40 pounds. But you see, losing 40 pounds isn't really about the weight at all. It's more about awakening to your higher self. It's about regaining your identity. It's about taking your creative authority away from the negative and away from emotions and away from feeling sorry or feeling sad or anxious about yourself. It's about how much you gain in the process, and it's about how much you awaken to your mission and to carry it out with grace and determination.
And I love how you're also really conveying this concept that, look, you said it a few different ways already just now, that we know what we want. We know what we need to do. No one knows us better than we know ourselves. And so this is not a list that isn't already in existence. We know what will make our life exactly how we want it to be so that we can enjoy it and get the most out of it and get the most out of this earthly experience. We know because it's us.
And it's about what we're gaining in the process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because look, no matter what you're trying to do, whether it's reaching a fitness goal or living out your passion or striving for the career of your dreams, kinetic believers know better than to expect it to always be unicorns and butterflies. I mean, there are going to be times where we don't feel like it. There are going to be times where we want to just cave in, where we just wonder if it's really all even worth it. But you see, you've got to trudge through the illusionary to get this stuff done. So you dig deep and you open your journal and remind yourself of your mission. Believe in what you can rearrange and press through it. Use those naysayers and the mental challenges for fuel to aspire and to grow and to manifest the better in your life. In this world, adaptability is not an option, because it's filled with the diminishing, and it promotes the average and rewards the fearful with more of the same. But KBs understand that nothing worth having comes easy. Imagine the sense of fulfillment and the accomplishment that you're going to feel when you overcome the hard part by maintaining your imagination for greatness. Look, challenges are all a part of the journey. We don't have to like them, but you'll have to trudge through them. And I'll tell you that those moments are a privilege, because you know every single time that it's going to be worth it in the end.
It's always been so fascinating to me how when you become a kinetic believer, you have so many words that you have to redefine. Just take the word easy, for example, because it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be easy.
I love those little twists of meanings, because that's true. We're talking about a dual nature, aren't we?
Well, we are. And also, I mean, that's the whole point of being a kinetic believer, isn't it? That we have, it's not to say that nothing ever happens that we need to overcome. It's to say that we are so fully equipped, and that we have this enormous skill set to soar and sail through life in a way that we were meant to. And again, I love the word easy, because, yes, does it take effort, and is it difficult to mentally dig down and make sure that you're bringing every thought into captivity, and that you're not allowing, seeds of negativity and darkness and doubt to root in there? Yes, that is. But you know what? It's not as difficult as letting them root and then reaping those horrible consequences.
That's a great point. And I think a really good example of how this can be easy is when somebody is telling you can't accomplish something. The way to overcome that is to stop paying attention to it. That's easy. I don't care what your situation in life is. You've got something great on the inside of you. Your present circumstances don't matter. Well, what is greatness? We talk about best life all the time. It's manifesting more than what you have so far. It's always feeling great. It's being healthy. It's enjoying the experiences of life. It's prospering in your mind and body and soul. It's tapping into and it's harvesting the talent and the passion that is overflowing just under your own self-doubt. Greatness is the wellspring of unrealized potential that you've carried all of your life. Putting a demand on the supernatural power of kinetic belief isn't for the faint of heart. It's for the bold and it's for the brave, but you've got to embrace the warrior's heart. Being a KB is like belonging to a pride of lions, isn't it? Predators that demand the attention of their purpose. Lions who live in this social organization which is known as a pride. Because of the insistence of the kingdom of your presence, you are counted among the pride of life. Maybe you're listening today and you realize that you've been following the crowd outside of the place where you just know you're supposed to be ruling. Maybe your spirit is so asleep that you're only living a numbed existence somewhere between life and death. Listen, right now, in this present moment, this is all any of us really have. It's this moment. This is the moment to stop thinking about the pointlessness of yesterday and the mediocrity of the past and start speaking in the power of now. How do you start? Begin by being honest. Start by shutting down the narrative that wants to argue and come up with all of these excuses. Shut that down. What are your passions? What are your giftings? What do you like to do? Write those down. Put it into your manifesting journal and imagine. Start digging down. Get out your curious, observant mental shovel and start learning everything that you can about those things that you wrote down. And I'm telling you that your list of passions will become obvious as you narrow down your talents and your interests into this focused few. And those things you're going to start putting your hands to. Take your narrowed list and dig down some more. Keep digging. Read about them. Study those things. Imagine them and look within to see them. Speak your affirmations. Watch videos. Meditate to imagine some more until you can see you as the thing that you imagine. Listen to podcasts on those things that you're passionate about and look for inspiration wherever you can find it. Watch the elite and watch all the masters. Go to the museums, learn from them. The point is that you have to focus on the resources that you have and really dig deep to get underneath the core of what you can do. The ancient book of Proverbs says that wisdom must be pursued as a hidden treasure, and that means with a determined pursuit. You are digging for something valuable. So if you truly understand the worth of your own resources, you see, you would take the time to work through all of this. There's only one thing that will stop the supernatural power of your kinetic belief from manifesting your highest self, and that is you. Your job, where you go to work every day, that's not a hindrance. Your place in life, it's not stopping you. Your children, they're not holding you back. The change that's necessary is not anything that you can see or in anyone that you know. The only thing for you to change is what's in control of your mind. Are you under the spell of excuses of the ego or in the power and authority of your essence of being? Kinetic believers trust in the way they're made and have reverence for the majesty that's within them, that's making them more. Let's take a few moments together to think about what we might have residing in us. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be a mystery. I'm not suggesting that you're going to discover something that you didn't know was there. If you're a KB, a regular to these podcasts, you have at least an idea of what you're passionate about and what you expect and what you're not willing to tolerate and what you're capable of. We just need to have a meeting with ourselves today. Let's do this. In the power of agreement right now, are you ready for this? Because all things are possible. What are you passionate about? Write those things down. Imagine them. Speak it to yourself. What are you passionate about? What do you love? Think about it. Let's just meditate together right now to close out today's podcast. See it. Let it rise to the surface. Let it become you. See yourself living it and be grateful in the presence of now, in this moment, for who you imagine to be. Remember, all things are possible. Take a moment. Close your eyes if you can. Right there where you are. What are you passionate about.